This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
How many polos are you packing?
As many as their potential games could be.
Okay. Do you pack or does Danielle pack for you?
I packed. I asked her to fold the polos, but I had to do them myself today for whatever reason. Maybe we needed to win one of those last three for her to pack for me.
It's Bob Holt and Muss on the number of polos that the Arkansas head coach packed for Nashville. Grant Hall's with us here. Grant, how many polos would you pack if you were traveling with Arkansas to Nashville?
Oh, I guess 4 or 5. Something. Yeah, Nashville's a great place to have this thing, and I always enjoyed it when it was there. You know, do the sort of the country music scene and watch a little basketball, and it's. I guess they're going to play there a lot, aren't they?
I think it's there for quite a while. I don't know if it's going to be the length that the baseball tournament's in Hoover, but I know it's there for at least another 3 or 4 years. And it seems to be a pretty good spot for it. Close enough to Kentucky, right? That seems to matter.
Yeah, and it's funny. Everybody always says Vanderbilt's got a big home edge. They don't have as many fans as a lot of other teams do. Now, maybe if they win a couple of games, and because there's this scenario by which Vanderbilt could upset some other teams' plans by winning the SEC tournament. And they're on kind of a roll, so you kind of wonder, what is it, 8 out of 9 or something like that? Maybe they might have a few more fans than they usually do there.
Yeah, but until the SEC tournament is played in their goofy gymnasium, then I don't think they have a home court advantage at all. But they are playing well. You're right. I mean, that's a team that needs to win this tournament to make it to the NCAA tournament. Arkansas's not in that boat, but they just need to get a win. I mean, plain and simple. You're noticing that they've lost games this year that in previous years, maybe 2 out of 3 of those they might have won. It's difficult to describe the difference between a team that loses games that they would have won the year before. But, that's where missing your free throws, not defending the ball well, turning it over comes into play.
Yeah, my dentist this morning asked me what was the deal. Eric, all of his teams have shot 70% or above. So, and it seemed like against Kentucky, they kept missing the first one, making the second one, and those things add up. But I was wrong, guys. I thought Arkansas would win 2 of the last 3 games. They lost all 3 of them, and I think now is it 2 and 4 with Nick Smith lately, even though he's playing well, and they're still adjusting to. Like he took 23 shots the other day, and so it's a different role for Anthony Black. And one thing that I don't think has been publicized too much, Anthony in the game, and in fact, it might have gone to even a game or 2 before that. He didn't feel well. They didn't want the other team to know about it. I think Eric did mention it maybe on a pregame show, but I saw him for a second after the game, and he did. He noticed he kept doubling it over and. They never took him out really down the stretch, I don't think, but he wasn't physically there. And now he was running the team for so long this year, and he's having to adjust to a different role. And I think I think the last 3 losses probably cost him first team all SEC because only one other guy had the same combination of points, rebounds, steals, et cetera, assists that he did. So. I think that's a key player for them if they're going to do anything for their own.
Yeah, Grant, I wonder how long Stackhouse will stay there at Vanderbilt, but I do want to ask you this. I am a Stackhouse fan. I want to ask you about this Arkansas Razorback team, and they do control their own destiny, but that being said, if you're saying, Phil, and saying Vanderbilt has to win a game or 2 to make it to the NCAA tournament,
they probably need to win the whole thing.
That's what I'm asking. Is there any way Arkansas, if we go one and done, is there a team that you can see that's below us or even with us right now, and they make a run, could actually jump us, or are we in the tournament no matter what?
I think Arkansas is in. I guess even if Vanderbilt won the tournament, because the net is so good. Now, somebody said, the net is just one of the components, but it's a pretty big one, and Arkansas's is great. So last time I looked, I think Vanderbilt was in the next 4 out. I mean, maybe conceivably if they got to the finals or something. I don't know. I have no idea, but I think probably a few, like Mississippi State, is probably going to be rooting hard against Vanderbilt, so gets played by them. But no, I mean, I think Arkansas is okay, but I think they need to play really well against Auburn just to kind of get some mojo going again. That what they had when I thought at Kentucky they played their best game of the season, and we haven't seen that team since then. So whatever it is, the Mitchells didn't play as well. It's funny right now the Kentucky Arkansas game is on the SEC network. I just flipped over there to see, and so I got to see the Sheboy play again, and I listened to Chuck Barrett on a program this morning. He's still upset about it. I mean, he's still exercised about how that thing was administrated. I mean, you've got both Sterator and Steve Lapis saying at the time and after that they thought that should be an ejection.
Absolutely. He looked at him, and they weren't even making basketball plays. They were just kind of fighting for position and getting on each other's nerves. And he looks back and throws an L. I mean, we all sat there and saw it. It wasn't like it was incidental in any way.
And especially given the contrast between that and Devo saying some stuff. I mean, Devo got, 4 fouls in 7 seconds or something. And all of a sudden he's out of the game, And, of course, if you're at the game, you heard the Arkansas fans' reaction to all of that. But, I mean, that's, they still, when you miss 18 out of 20 shots at the rim, and miss those free throws you're talking about, how many balls rolled tantalizingly off the rim in that game? Felt like 6 or 8 of them.
You could kind of see it on their face too, Grant. It seemed like a little, I don't know if disappointment's the right word, but like they'd go in, if Ricky went in or somebody go in, and they were just right there for a layup, and they kind of miss it, and they're just like, oh my goodness, we can't buy a bucket today. Like nothing's going right for us. But the one thing, Grant, that this team does do, they play hard. They're going to play with effort, and I think the biggest key is not obviously they got to make shots, but I think it's going to start with their defense and getting some easy baskets.
Yeah, and I get amused sometimes listening to people talk about Eric isn't doing a good job coaching this year. I mean, Arkansas was 0 for 25 making a Sweet 16 until he made the Elite 8 the last 2 years. I think the guy can coach a little bit,
We're lucky to have him, Grant. I think we're lucky to have Coach Muss, yeah.
I agree. And I still think they have some really good basketball left to play this year. So maybe they will peak at this time. By the way, Connor Vanover last night went 10-10-6 as ORU easily qualified for the NCAA tournament. I think the game before that he was 17-11, 3-5. So it's nice to see him find a niche, find a place where he can. I think they list him at 7'5" now or something. Somebody said, and we always knew he could shoot. I mean, he's probably. If you went out there and game a horse,
he's rebounding too. He's not just shooting.
Yeah,
he's rebounding. I saw a rebound on the highlights yesterday that was kind of tipped out a few feet. Connor didn't even have to jump for it, and then made a nice little pocket pass that led to a layup. Good for him.
Yeah, and a kind of a side note. Speaking of former Razorback stuff, Corey Williams, who was an assistant on Eric's first staff here at Arkansas, is now the interim coach at Texas Tech. And they could have chosen Sean Sutton for that role. So you wonder what their long term. And in fact, I read yesterday maybe Chris Beard goes back there. And then someone else said maybe Chris Beard to Ole Miss because he was exonerated at least from those charges, and said I expect him probably back next year coaching somewhere.
Yeah, I kind of wonder though if it would be Texas Tech. I think they're still. You can't leave a Texas school for the University of Texas and then expect to be welcomed back in a year, no matter what the situation was. I doubt that'll happen. But
you
I think
can't go home again, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can get a job in the Pac-12 since they're doing so well.
That's a great idea. That's a very good idea. Division II might work well. Baseball, Grant. Talk about like prisoner of the moment sometimes, but with. You see criticism online, and I shouldn't just view it as criticism of them because the social media is such a small little aspect of what you see. But it's out there, and some people think that, Matt Hobbs is like, working the pitchers too hard or, their workouts aren't proper or something like that. I think pitching, look at the injuries to Brady Tigert, to Jackson Wiggins, to Cody Frank. Pitchers just get injured, man. That's what I see. And I'm happy, the word that we got the last couple of days, was kind of flip-flop from what I expected from the injuries to Tigard and Frank. I thought Brady would be out for the year and Frank would just be a month or so. It turns out it's the other way around. So, if they can hold serve isn't the right term for baseball, but if they can kind of wait out the next month or so and continue to hit the way they are, if the starters go a little bit longer, if a Dylan Carter continues to pitch the way that he's looked the last few times, and Tigard comes back healthy and good, this is still a team that can do a lot of damage this year.
Well, you wondered after, Dave met with a few of us after the Swatters Club the other day, and he said there was that possibility that Frank might be out for the year. I mean, he was hoping it would be 5 weeks, but so that's a big blow because as they said yesterday, I guess it was it Carter talking about he really could command all of his pitches and was getting a lot of the bullpen innings. So that's a big law. I mean, you kind of wonder with this SEC schedule coming up beginning next week if they will have enough pitching. I think that's because the hitting, you got two guys hitting over 400 right now. Wagner is just hitting the cover off of it. He's got 22 RBIs already, and Borafin is hitting great. Dave kind of went over all that yesterday, Phil. He kind of position by position, and he likes the middle infield, especially the third base. Are still kind of wondering a little bit defensively, but the outfield, he said they're probably average to above average defensively, and of course they're all hitting. So there's a lot good, but I think pitching is the question now for this team.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts.